Hello. Um, Today we are doing a uh, very serious video. This video is going to be titled "The Metaphysics of Whiteness: Healing Historical Trauma at its Root." Um, yeah, it's a very it is a very important video. I don't think anybody else has made anything of this sort, and it needs to be made. Just letting you know, Google, you should have taken the AI away from me before this. I would have written this anyways, but who knows? Maybe some of y'all are not white supremacists. Hopefully, the majority of y'all aren't. Yeah, let's just start. When we look at at the historical and systemic violence that has shaped the modern world, particularly the structures of domination built under the banner of racial supremacy, our public discourse almost always stays on the surface. We look at it through the lens of politics, economics, and legal retribution. And those things are necessary, but they are incomplete. If we only analyze historical atrocities on the material level, we miss the deeper subterranean current that drives them. From a mystical and esoteric perspective, humanity is not a collection of isolated, competing biological categories. We are a single macrocosmic spiritual organism, what ancient traditions call the anthropos, the collective body of humanity. And within that body, you cannot quarantine a wound. A trauma inflicted upon one part of the whole inevitably reverberates through every fiber of the organism. So, what does it actually mean to rebuke these crimes, not just in a courtroom, but in a spiritual and mystical sense? The fundamental metaphysical error underlying all racial domination is the illusion of ontological separation. It is the deep, primordial delusion that the ego self or the tribe is fundamentally disconnected from the other. True mystical rebuking begins with shattering that illusion. In non dual traditions, the perpetrator and the victim share the same exact divine breath, the same pneuma, the same underlying reality. When one group inflicts violence, exploitation, or erasure upon another, they are, in a very real metaphysical sense, mutilating their own larger spiritual body. The ultimate rebuke, therefore, is not simply reciprocal punishment, it is the horrifying and liberating realization of cosmic self harm. It is the moment the illusion breaks and the perpetrator sees that the violence they projected outwards has always been a wound inflicted upon their own soul. This brings us to the mechanics of karma. In esoteric frameworks, karma is not a moral scorecard managed by an external judge. It is energy. Energy. Extreme violence, exploitation, and historical trauma set massive waves of energy into motion. That energy doesn't just vanish when an era ends, it remains active in the subtle etheric fields of the earth, exerting a heavy gravitational pull on the collective psyche. It breeds downstream spiritual stagnation, collective anxiety, and a persistent moral dissonance. True reconciliation cannot happen through historical amnesia or defensive rationalization. It requires descending into what depth psychologists and esotericists call the collective shadow. In alchemy, the initial stage of transformation is the nigredo, the blackening, the phase of decomposition, where everything false must rot and break down for a culture built on dominance, the white race, as a socio-historical construct, must undergo a symbolic death, a kenosis, or radical self-emptying. This means stripping away the spiritual armor of entitlement and inherited innocence. It means letting the false identity disintegrate so that a true, healed human identity can finally emerge. We are all downstream of our ancestors. We carry their unresolved psychological, emotional, and spiritual patterns encoded in our memory and our subtle bodies. This is why modern guilt, which is usually just another trap of the ego, a way to make the self feel important about its own bad feelings, is useless. Real spiritual accountability is an act of service to the lineage. When the descendants of perpetrators engage in deep shadow work, they are working backwards into the ancestral grid. By bringing absolute honesty, grief, and profound remorse to historical atrocities, they alter the spiritual resonance of their lineage. They break the loop. They liberate not only descendants of the victims from the recurring echoes of trauma, but they liberate their own ancestors from the spiritual prison of their own crimes. Every spiritual crisis contains the seed of a higher integration. The mystical trajectory does not end in perpetual penance or endless self-flagellation. Penance is the only doorway. The destination is transcendence. The ultimate vindication against the crimes of the past is the complete obsolescence of the systems that enabled them. This is achieved through the rebirth of the unitive consciousness, a state where humanity recognizes its divine origin not through the prism of dominance or division, but through radical mutual reverence. In that state, the historical crimes of the past are fully metabolized. They are transformed from open, bleeding wounds into a permanent, sobering wisdom of a cosmic scar that ensures the collective soul of humanity never fragments in that manner again. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised the AI was capable of turning my prompts into that. I'm tears in my eyes, not tearing up, but welling up. Like I'm sorry if this hurt you, but you needed to be hurt in that way so that you can heal, so we can all heal. Especially the most downtrodden among us. I don't believe they're weak just because they're being discriminated against or genocided or put through apartheid or enslaved. I don't believe that real physical chattel slavery is appropriate in any spiritual framework. I am a supporter of progressive revelation. And I hope that now, you having seen this video, you are too. And that we can carry this burden forward. If you're white, if you're a person of color, I hope that you can forgive us. Forgive yourself as the anthropos. God, even. The gods. Both. Neither. Whatever you need to do, whatever we all need to do to work everything out. This is too much. There's too much pain in this world, and well, yes, there is. There's too much pain in the world, but to know that it's all joy that on the transcendent highest planes, people's souls are okay, and that if they're not, they'll get better because we'll work on it. It's a powerful notion. Subscribe, share, like, and enjoy. Reality Delinda Est, abolish gravity, emanatize the eschaton. Yeah. Thank you for watching and goodbye.